435, 740, and 0. .35 kilowatts, 740 newton meters of torque, and 0 chance of me wanting to give this car back. We are in GTSR build number 537. We've seen the GTSR Maloo ute. We've also seen me have a crack at a couple of dual cab utes. They weren't as much fun as this is. I'm back home behind the wheel of something I love, the big V8. HSV have done a ripper job with this car. It's got the LSA, which we love, makes the perfect amount of noise inside and out, and it goes like stink. We can get from 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds and do the standing quarter in under 13, which is not too bad at all for a car that comes out of the factory, and it weighs around about the 1800 kilo mark. We were first introduced to the GTSR with a VS range Commodore. Now, in 1995, 1996, 1997, when we had HSV GTSRs on the road, they only came out in one colour, yellow. I really hoped that when HSV brought this version out, they were going to do them in yellow as well. But it's one colour that they left off the range. The W1, that didn't give us a yellow one either, which was a little bit disappointing for the die-hard HSV fans, especially those that remember the GTSR. The first time round anyway. But let's forget about the past and look at what we've got today. Now we're in a car that's got a supercharged V8. Now we're in a car that's got a lot more safety features than what they originally came out with back in the VS model as well. HSV gives us the EDI, which is the electronic driver interface, and that gives us a variety of features. Curtis has run through them for you with the GTSR Maloo ute that he's reviewed. We might have a crack at giving you another look at them in this particular car here as well. We're in an automatic, and when these were brand new, the automatic was a $2,500 option. I'd normally say a car like this needs to be a manual, but I've driven one of these in the manual, and to be brutally honest with you, I much prefer this in an auto. Maybe I'm just a little bit lazy now, but it just plods along nicely, does what you want it to do. You can happily get stuck in traffic in it, you can happily drive it through some twisty stuff and on some open roads. One figure I haven't given you about this car is the fuel economy. And you know why? It's because I really couldn't care less. Once you put the foot down and you hear the noise that this engine makes, the last thing you're going to want to worry about is how much fuel you're burning. The exhaust makes the right amount of snap, crackle and pop. And just the sound and the way it goes is just so addictive. We've seen HSV prices skyrocket, and this particular car, the GTSR, is not going to be exempt from those skyrocketing prices. In fact, people are really holding on to them now. You're not even seeing too many for sale on car sales, and the ones that are for sale are on there for some seriously big numbers. There'll probably be something on the bottom of the screen here to tell you roughly what you'd be finding one for at the moment. It's not hard to get comfortable in a car like the GTSR. It's got nice big bucket seats at the front that really hug you as you're sitting in them. Even though the GTSR does come with cruise control, it doesn't have radar cruise control, which in many cars of that 2017 era, and probably cars that are a lot cheaper than this one, it would have come in. I mean, you can get yourself in a Corolla that's got radar cruise control. Like, please, HSV, you've let us down a little bit. We've got the head-up display that goes through a number of different functions. That'll tell us what our G-force is, all very important when we're stuck in traffic. But if you're using it on the track, which is what this thing's been designed to do and can do very, very well, things like that are pretty important. Electronic driver interface, which is one of the other features that Curtis has run through on the GTSR Maloo for you, and we'll run through again with this one. Gives the driver a bit of a really good understanding of the vehicle. It's got preloaded racetracks in there, and you can pick whichever track you've been at. You can even set your own track, log the data of any track times that you've done, and take it back to the computer, plug it in, and show off to your friends as to how good you are around a track. If you're an owner of a GTSR, what would you do to it? Would you take it out on a track? Would you drive it daily? Or would you hide it in your shed? Well, if you were to look around you and look at what the classifieds are doing, there aren't too many for sale, and the ones that are for sale have got low Ks. They're asking for big dollars for them. Some people have bought these specifically as an investment. They've kept the plastic on them, all the delivery stickers on them, and they're now asking for a hefty sum of money for them. I think I'd like to do a little bit more than just park this in a shed. Don't know if I'd like to take it on a track. I don't think I'd want to risk doing anything to it, but I think it's where you'd enjoy it the most. So the EDI, nice and fancy, gives the driver a little bit more information about the car. In this mode here, we can obviously see which gear we're in, what our revs are, how much brake pressure and acceleration we're applying. And obviously if you're in gear, it'll tell you which gear that you're in. In a manual, it'll tell you again which gear you're in, and it'll also offer you the shift light as well. So tell you when the optimum time to change gear is. In the next mode, we've got these dials here. You can adjust each one of these and you can select whatever information you need. So let's cycle through a couple. There's your kilowatts, there's your oil temperature, our oil pressure, so on and so forth. This one here being an LSA will also give us boost pressure as well. Next mode is fuel economy. Don't really care about that one. We'll flick straight past that. Here's our stopwatch. So obviously if you wanted to time yourself around a track, this is the one that you'd use, but this is where the fun starts. So you can select which track you're racing on by going into this screen here. So you hit track, and Mount Panorama is obviously the one that we'd all love to have a crack around, but you can choose from a variety of tracks that are all preloaded in there. We'll go all the way through a couple, and then you can also load a custom track if you're lucky enough to have your own racetrack at your hands. We'll cycle through a little bit more. So this is where we'd be able to log any track times that we went through and went around. And then this will give the driver all the information that they need to know about how the car is handling, how much their ABS is working, and how hard all the other safety devices are working in the car. We can measure our G-force, so on and so forth. So we love the fact that HSV have given us all these features, and yes, they are very, very fancy, and they're probably very informative for anyone that's going to take it out on a track. But for me, it's all about the fact that you can show off that you've got all this information at your fingertips. Big shout out to one of our fans in Austria who made a great point and said that you don't need a car like this, you just want one. He commented on the video that we had of the GTO, and he just wanted one so bad that he imported one from the UK, and he now has it in Austria. One of the only GTO in Austria, and it took him 8 months to get it on the road there. So a big thank you to him and everybody else for watching. Enjoy the videos.